All right. Has been a while since I've done this, so hopefully we have sound. If you're out there and you can hear this, well, let me know. Going out into the world here. All right. So I normally do these on Facebook, on the Facebook Live function, but I figured, I haven't really posted to YouTube in a while, and right now I can't do both at the same time. So, hi, folks. I really wanted to touch base because I know I've been missing for it's only been about a month, but it feels like a lot longer than that because I pretty much went into sort of a I won't say lockdown because the word's been used an awful lot in the last year, but essentially moving into finishing up the next Oracle deck that I have been working on it, but it was really the crunch time in the deadline at the beginning of March, and it just kind of kept rolling for a bit. Everything's taken a little bit longer for things to get done because of the pandemic. And so every time I'm like, it's almost done. It's almost done. It's not quite done. It's not done yet. I'm just going to keep rolling with it. Well, now it's finally done. So it took me a few weeks longer than I thought it would. And in that time, really was just pretty much get up, work on the deck, work on whatever else needed to get done, and start over again the next day. And with that, that meant there really wasn't, hey, Tammy, there wasn't the energy to do the witch hole workouts. And I know I started doing the witch hearts, and I will be doing more of the witch hearts. They'll pretty much return. As you can tell, like kind of petered off in the last week. So I was like, I can't even, like even just a couple of minutes to put my face on and do the little things with the video just was a little bit too much. So I'm just about really March is about conserving energy to finish up this project, which now it's done. At least this stage of it's done. So with publishing, I'm just going to ramble until I'm rambling just to you, Tammy. Rambling off into the ether. So with any project, right, for publishing, it goes through many stages. And so there's the initial proposal stage, and then there is the first draft. And with an Oracle deck, you think everything's done. Hi, Karen. You think it's all done, but it's, like you get the art done, but then there's going to be the whole layout process and the text and making sure all the images fit. And then there's also the booklet, which is what was kind of the last 2 weeks of my life was this booklet. And there are 48 cards, and every one of them needs to have 200 words. And the first time when I did Liminal Spirits, I just I wrote what I felt, and that kind of that kind of gave the layout department some kittens because trying to get that text out, and I'm like, but it needs to say what it's going to say, and they were probably like, bless her heart. We'll just put it in a book. And so that kind of made the Liminal Spirits booklet have odd pages. So you'd have some where they're just 1 page and some that are 3 pages and such. So I had it in my mind that for the magical body, the Oracle, the magical body, that it will be consistent. And so it's like, not only do I have the concepts that are going to fit, but they have to fit within 200 words and yeah, that sort of thing. So, thank you, Tammy. So I'm feeling also fresh. I had my first vaccine shot last week. I think it was Thursday. So I had a few days of a little sore, a little achy, a little in the joints. Not too bad. But so sort of luckily it wasn't enough that sent me back to bed because to finish up that last bit of the Oracle. So anyway, so going back to the Oracle process, so you have this first draft and the publisher looks it over, the editing team considers it, and they're like, okay, so they look at it and go, does this make sense with this? Can you elaborate on that? All of that happens, and what is the final product going to look at? And they also get the projected publishing date. So hopefully in about 2 weeks, I'll know when in 2022, great year we in, when in 2022, the Oracle, the Magical Body, or the Anatomy of the Witch Oracle, whatever it's going to be called, will know, right? Because they'll figure out what catalog it's going to go into. So Karen, it is basically like the Liminal Spirits Oracle, so that there's the deck of 48 cards and there's a booklet. But it also ties in to the book that's going to be released in June, which is Anatomy of a Witch. So that is kind of the big thing that has inspired this deck, but you can use them, you can read the book without the deck, and you can work with the deck without having referenced the book. Though folks who will have read Anatomy of a Witch when the deck comes out and have read Weave the Liminal are definitely going to be tapping into, because it's so much of my symbolism, my mythology, how I view the world as an artist, as a person, as a witch. So that will be helpful for folks. But here's the other thing too, is like why, like I thought I'd get this oracle done like exactly on time. Because of the pandemic, the final edits for Anatomy of a Witch, which will be released officially June 8th of this year, June 8th, 2021. Hopefully it'll be hitting the shelves in late May or somewhere around there. Usually it hits a little earlier. The final edits came in. So it's like, you need to look at this manuscript one more time, 2 more times, 3 more times. We should look at this. Oh, we got to fill this space. And so it kept going, work on art, work on book. Now, of course, the book that is being published in June, that had to take the major focus, right, to get what's coming out sooner done. So it'd be like, okay, Oracle takes a little bit of a back seat to it. But I'm going to show you here. This is not all of the art, but this is the stack of paintings. These are all the ones that are the same size for the Magical Body Oracle. And this is a bit different. So the Liminal Spirits Oracle, this one here, was done on 42 panels of birch wood. And it was done mainly with acrylics. So there is a specific style and look to these cards. While this deck here, I'll pull one of these cards up, looks more like my drawing style. So if you're not familiar with my art, I'm gonna say why you're here, you'll get familiar with it, right? If you're familiar with the one style, this is going to look a little different to you. But how I draw is very much informed by my background in printmaking. So working on copper plates and fine lines and engraving. And I was really inspired or visioning this deck to be more of like a botanical engraving, the hand-colored, hand-painted botanical engravings and etchings, as well as the anatomical words. What are words for? Anatomical drawings that have been the main staple of printmaking for a couple hundred years at least. So a lot of they feel like this. I'll show you another one that's here. And these are the finished traditional media pieces. Yeah, Tammy, you're familiar with the drawing style. Like you go way back. We go way back to those days, and they almost to the back. You probably even saw some of my etchings back at the time. Those back in the early O's. So what is happening was that I scanned the artwork in, and then I layered it on vellum or parchment effects. So it's going to have a kind of a creamy base, and you're actually going to see some veining and parchment lines and such to just kind of give it a little bit more of an old feel. The size will be the same size as the Liminal Spirits. So it's going to be a decent size. Probably it's very similar in stock, paper, etc. All of that. Let's see, pointing out a few more of these. Folks who are on my Patreon have seen all of these as they're coming into being. And so what the Oracle of the Magical Body is, it's all centered on using the Anatomy of the Witch, which is the metaphysical or symbolic body of the witch, which is the 5 parts, which is the witch's mind or weaver, the witch heart, the witch lungs, the serpent, and the witch bones. So using these 5 systems coordinated aligned to be more in touch with your body as a magical tool. And so a lot of these cards look at states and actions and elements and lunar and solar events, as well as traditional witchcraft, spellcraft, all of those things coming in to help you become more in tune with your body and to kind of plot it very simply. And it can be a really good tool to work with other divinatory systems. So if you, when say you pull a tarot spread and you're like, this really isn't giving me the specifics, what are the specifics I need to do? You can pull out this oracle and it will give you very specific areas to really dive into, be like, oh, okay, well, this is coming into witch bones. This is structure. This is tradition. This is, oh, I should connect with the spirits of place. I need to do, so it kind of taps into that. So there's not really anything else like it out there. So I'm very excited excited to see it go into the world. But like, this has been my life for the last month. So it's like, I didn't fall off the internet. I definitely did not fall off the internet. Here's another one. This is one of my favorites too. I like a lot of these. So this is for renew, kind of rebirth, regenerate. Has the snake skin, has this rope, has the shell, has sort of phoenix feathers and ash coming down. And so they're all like this with these very delicate lines. Hey, Jessica. I feel like the Pennsylvania crew is here. Hi, folks. So it's going to be probably a little bit different for folks who are coming in from the Little Spirits Oracle. But this is kind of how I draw and how I see the world. And it does incorporate a lot of the symbolism. I'll share one more. I'll share one more. This is perception. This is in the senses. So we have the traditional senses of touch, taste, smell, sight, hearing. So, but then this is what is our sixth sense, that perception. And I love this. This is sort of like a little paramecium body. And what does that go into it? So each of these they have their little groups, which aren't super necessary to know, but I group them in order for me to be able to understand. So unlike the liminal spirits, which again has very specific, 8 groups, so you can understand and usually refer back to, these are a little bit more fluid and they're going to run into each other. But you can just sort of, pick up any card and not need to know that. So you have the groups, you'll have a description. So I kind of explain to you what's going on. And then there's some keywords as well as some a prescription, because it's the body, right? A little prescription for the body, which is some sort of ritual or spellcraft or some sort of witchy thing to consider. And not all of them are actions, but rather something to think about or an approach, ways that you can interpret that. So Tempest is fine, Tammy, too. It's at this point, I'm like, nah. It's all good. I respond to both. Probably respond to a few other things too. So I said, like, that has been the main thing. And I'm very much looking forward to getting the ritual workouts back on and going, because I have not moved very much in the last month, because it's been pretty much been here, sit at my desk, do the thing, chase cats around, pet cats, have cats sit on me. It's not very active. And so I feel a little bit funky as it is. So I'm looking forward to bringing that back for me. And I know some of you folks have watched it too. I know a lot of people have been saying, like, I'm still enjoying going back. Like, that's great that you can go back because there's like 140 episodes. Hey, Polly. Hello. Good morning, Polly. So that will be back, and more witch hearts, as well as more of the 6 minutes of witchcraft, and who knows what else. I know we're still doing and covering things with the Liminal Spirits Oracle. So I've got a lot of things that I'm excited to share with you all, to get back to doing that, instead of kind of being in this little cloister of my studio. Hey, Mishka. So with that, it's good to see folks. And I'm really excited. I'm even a bit nervous about Anatomy of the Witch coming out, because this book has been kind of in process now for over a year. It's going to be 2019, beginning of 2019 was when I was finishing the first draft. And so we're looking at a year and a half, actually 2 years altogether, probably since I started the contract for it. And it's really different. It is a system of my own devising, much like rites, but it's even more spiritual and symbolic. And I feel like it's the culmination of my personal practice as a dancer, as an artist, as a witch, and having all of these things intertwine. And but you don't have to be an artist or a dancer, and not even a witch, to be able to tap into these aspects of your body, to consider breath, to consider why we craft ritual and when we do ritual and what is a daily practice, and to look at the signs, the feelings, the different states of our own bodies that we often ignore. And this is what part of the serpent is about, is tapping into our intuition, our powers of creativity and transformation. The bones go into that tradition, that structure. What do we learn? The rules that we have to know before we break them, as well as that we are connected to place. We are connected to not even, you don't have to be living where you were born, right? Like, no matter where you are, you're still connected to the earth and the ground, and how to connect with that spirit of place, and your own mind. Because so many of us, we tend to be all up here, hanging out all here all the time. And that disconnects us from our body, right? So the last thing you do is you connect to the weaver to unite all of these things and to have more of that. And so it's really about all the different levels and processes of going into that. So I'm excited, but I'm nervous because, again, like, people, nobody else has something quite like that. And so it's always a bit hard to be like, here's this concept, and this is how I'm putting it into words and into images. So we'll see. So I'm hoping it's helpful, especially considering the last year that we've had. And I really believe that the more that you consider your body as a tool, it's great to think about academics and scholarship and to think about things. I'm a chronic overthinker, but breath and pattern and movement, like, again, you don't have to be a dancer in order to appreciate movement. Like, we could sit here and just kind of roll our shoulders and think about that, move your neck, and what does it mean to feel that? We don't. Right? You often don't. We just sort of bumble around because we're up here. We're just like, oh, I just hit my head on my desk. Why did I do that? Because I wasn't even aware of where my body was. I didn't, not not listening to all of these senses combined. Hello, Andrew. So yes, that's a thing. And yes, you can pre-order it on Amazon right now. I will be adding it to my site, the website, for pre-orders. This is Anatomy of Witch, the book. Again, the Oracle is, just forget about it. Like, I'm just teasing you with it now. Just forget about it, because it's going to be a while before we see that in the next Oracle deck. So yeah, get excited, and then you'll blink your eyes and it'll be back around. So hey, Dawn. So with this, with any book that I do, I don't put the pre-order buttons up until I know that it's coming back from the printers. Because I'm neurotic like that. I like to know that, like, I have received the hard copy. It exists in this world. And it has made it over here. Like, it hasn't been sucked up by a tornado or a hurricane or something. And so I like to, like, have the physical part to know that it's landed here, and even if this is the first of the children coming, that there are more behind it, and then I feel confident to put up the pre-order buttons. So, but if you do pre-order anyway on Amazon, that does help other folks see it. Like, it raises the visibility of it. I know Amazon is special. Of course, one of the great things you can also do is talk to your local occult or witchy shop, or bookshop, your independent bookstore, and say, hey, I hear this book's coming out. I would like to be on the list. Like that. Like, if you're not going to get it from me, get it from a local shop, or order online, or bookshop.org. That also is really good. So all the mixed messages, right? All those things. So that is, those are kind of the big things. So Witch will work out. Like I said, we'll be back. The Oracle's done. Anatomy of Witch will be coming out soon. And I'm going to do a separate video for this, but I want to share with you something that I received. I guess it was last week. What is time? And that is the Archeo Oracle by Nick Bantock. This is also from Long. It is the same size. Look, it's like we're got sister, brother, sibling. Why am I sending gender? There's no gender for Oracle decks. These siblings, cousins, they're the same size. That makes them related, right? They come from the same publisher. So Nick Bantock has been a huge influence in my art ever since. They're behind me, but I'm going to dig them out anyway. So from here to here, and then there's some other books around, is all Nick Bantock. But way, way back, probably in the early 90s, somewhere between 90 and 92, might have been 1990, these books came out, Griffin and Sabine by Nick Bantock. And for very young me, this was mind-blowing as a young artist, as a creative person. And what is wonderful, it's all his artwork, but part of it, so it's a series of correspondence between Griffin and Sabine, right, which is this wonderful story into itself. But what's really cool is that some of these are postcards, but some of them are actual letters, like so. And so you have this letter that you can read, right? And so it's like reading other people's mail, but it's also sort of a fantasy kind of sci-fi fantasy. What is it that LeVar Burton says? It's speculative fiction, but with art as well. There's an artistic side to it. So I have pretty much almost all of Nick's books. And a while ago, follow him on Facebook, and I forget how the thread went, but there was somebody who was saying, like, maybe I should do like a tarot and oracle deck. And I was like, I have people to hook you up with. Like, for my own selfish needs, you need to make a deck. And so it happened because this is how sisters, yes, but you don't have to take LeVar's word for it. Take my word for it. But so this has a wonderful booklet, and it is also an unusual oracle because it delves into different kinds of archetypes. So it's the Archeo. I said I will do a separate video for this so that people can find it. And they're just, Nick's artwork is fantastic. So it's totally in his style. I'll pick another. It's just, they're beautiful, they're delicate, they're powerful, and of course he's a very gifted writer as well. So kind of think about that. It's like I was really inspired by his art, and I really thought how much I was also inspired by his writing. Besides obviously having all these books, I always saw it by the art, but like I've myself reached the point where like my art and my words coexist. Like they live together. So and hello there, Shadow. Sorry, some of the chat's going by faster than I can see. So this is from Llewellyn, and it just got released. I don't even think it's like officially had its release, which probably be April 8th, but it's been shipping. So just like in the anime, hopefully, by its official release date, it will already have been shipping for a couple weeks. So I'm looking forward to diving into this. So I had 3 oracle decks arrive as I was trying to finish up my own oracle deck. Like trying to finish it up, and like completely finished decks show up, and they've all been decks that I have kickstarted or involved in some way, and over like the last year and a half, and they all show up like at the same day. Like that's That's witchcraft for you. So Natasha's Compendium of Witches. This is one of the Kickstarter ones. So I'll go into these more, but like they're all beautiful art decks. The other one is Annabelle Lewis, The Witches of Legend, as well. So like I said, they pretty much arrived, and I went like, yeah, beautiful decks. Let me get into this. Let me finish this one deck so I can do that. So those are some exciting decks, and I'll dive into them too and try to do a little share. And like also, it's been a good mail week. Last week, this week it's Monday. It's not that great a day today for mail. But this also just arrived, Astrea's Air Magic. This is part of the Llewellyn series where they're doing each of the elements. I think Lilith Dorsey did water. Sorry, for those of you not from the Philadelphia area, water. For others of you, water. So the I think water came out earlier this year. I'm sort of, again, like, when are things being released? I don't really know. But this one I think just came out. And then I know Dodie is doing Earth, I believe, and then there's a fire book as well. And I think, if you didn't miss it, they were doing, Llewellyn was doing a little feature with all 4 of the main authors. But neat little thing is that I had written something about using air as an altar that didn't make it into the Witch's Altar, the book that I wrote with Jason Mankey. And so that's in here, which really makes me happy. But I actually have ones for the rest of them too, the other elements, but you get to read about the air one in this one. And it's just like, it's really nicely done. And it's like, can you fill a whole book with, a thing about information about the elements? Yes, you can. So I feel like, yeah, I do have the whole fill. I'm glad that you folks can groove with my water. So that's pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to going through this. And I've got more books. I've been kind of like stacking up books and trying to dig through this oracle at the same time. So I'm excited to share more things with you all. Oh, okay. Other things. So the other really big thing, especially for this month right now, is Waking Persephone. This is the reincarnation of an event that I produced from 2012 to 2016. We had 2 years in Providence, Rhode Island, 3 years, 2012, 2013, 14, 15, 16. Yes, I can math. 3 years out in Seattle, and then ended it for various reasons. It was more of, it was called Dancing Through the Dark Unusual, or we had a few different subtitles for it. And this is, it's a sort of a reincarnation or reimagining of it. It's first a virtual festival, and it is 1 day. And hi, Arena. So it is focusing on the queer and magical. So instead of kind of going from a movement-oriented festival, we do have movements, but it is not a dance festival. It is exploring magic. It's exploring what does it mean to be queer? Where do these things intertwine? And it's bringing folks from many different communities together for this. We have, throughout the day, there are 8 presentations and 8 presenters total. And it goes starting with the body. We're going to start off with the body in the morning and understanding what it means to tap into our body with our theme. And we'll delve into the mind, and then we'll go into spirit in the evening. We do have a dance performance by Kamra. We have music by Juliana Finch. Jinx Vervain will be reading poetry. And I will be teaching the movement workshop in the morning. Misha Magdalene has a body embodiment, queer bodies, I believe, is the next one. And we have Michelle Belanger doing more of a psychopomp and dealing with gender. We have Lee Harrington, who will be kind of going into, my word, like I should have looked at the website before this. But understanding, like, how do we think about gender and ourselves, and what does it mean, like that whether you are trans, whether you're cis, whatever you consider these, what does it mean to be a part of that, and was that journey, particularly magically and body wise. And then Dame Wilburn, having a moment. So Dame Wilburn is one of my favorite Moth presenters. So if you listen to The Moth on NPR, storytelling program, I love stories. I love listening to stories. I love telling stories. I have not yet done a Moth. I was working my way up to throwing my name in a hat in Seattle, and then we moved, and there's not one locally here yet. But Dame Wilburn is amazing. They also have presented at Pagan and witchy events in the Michigan area. And so they are doing something about manifestation. But Dame is amazing. And so like the entire lineup is like all people that are fantastic and that I love. Like, that's how I put them together. I put me together. Like, these are all awesome people. Let's put them all together. And none of this, so the whole day, it's a single program presentation throughout. So nothing is in competition. I want people to be able to attend, to work, and get to know the community, because we will also have a Discord channel going at the same time. You'll have chat. You'll be able to talk and discuss things with other folks, and be able to focus on every single presenter. Have a break in between, so you won't have the screen fatigue. Like, we have a lot of screen fatigue now from spending a lot of time on our screens, right? So you'll have that time to kind of regroup, to enjoy. Everything will be recorded, so if you registered, you'll be able to check it out later. And it will just build up, and like each program, each presentation will flow into the next one. We also have a roundtable, which will have all of our presenters, and then folks can also ask questions. Every single workshop or presentation will also have a little bit of Q&A time as well. So that is Waking Persephone. And I'm going to throw into the chat here. Boom. So you can register for that online and get to all of that through Eventbrite is where the tickets are. I know Facebook, there is a Facebook page and a Facebook group, and the Facebook event says free because Facebook has now done a thing where if it's a virtual event, they want you to go through them and give them money. Basically, they want you to use their ticketing system. So you either have the option if it's free or it uses their ticketing system, which is crazy because Eventbrite is what pairs up with Facebook for non-physical events. So it's really frustrating. So I have lots of text that says registration information. This is how much it costs, all of that stuff there. So sorry, Andrew, like I post about this, I see these things, and then like the Facebook doesn't want to show you these things, and I ramble. So you can get in on that. I think it's only, we just switched, we missed the early bird. It finished up on the 31st, but it's only $65 for the day. Or if you're one of those people who are like, I love supporting other people, you can go in. There's a few sponsorship levels left, where if you get if you register at $100, you'll be getting a little package in the mail from us with stickers and such things, and other special things. But you also help other folks attend because we have scholarships. And I just sent out the notifications for scholarships yesterday. I think we still have room for a couple more people. So I'm going to figure out how we can distribute that, because I think all of our need-based have probably been filled, but we still have a few more youth scholarships. So if you are a young person, like in the 16 to college age range, and you are interested in this, let me know. Or if the link is still up, we will probably have a few more spots for young folks in there. So yes, and like I said, all of this will be recorded, and we'll probably have the information up, like all of the recorded presentations, at least until the next time we do the event, which I'm anticipating that we'll do 2 Waking Persephones a year. In the spring, we wake Persephone up, and in the fall, in probably October, November, we have the Waking of Persephone as she goes back into the underworld. And we will continually explore, what does it mean? What does it mean to be this rising up out of the underworld? And for many of us, what does it mean to have been in a former aspect of your life, former definitions and labels, and come into it? And you do not necessarily have to identify as queer or trans or gender fluid or any of these things to enjoy the program. I only ask that you be respectful of other people's experiences in this. So that's kind of the thing. It's more of the exploring of this larger concept together. And a huge part of bringing this event back is talking with Misha Magdalene. That's I missed a vital name in the lineup. No, I didn't. I did. I talked about Misha. So Misha and I were talking about community and what does it mean to craft community. And there's community, right? But there's the interactions that we have. Like, some of you who are saying hi tonight, like I have known for a very, very long time. We're going on 20 years, almost 20 years, 10, 20 years. Like this is the personal interactions. These are things that we, that happen not only in person, but the connections that can happen online. And I believe that we can craft the community we want. We can have that vision. It's sort of that if you build it, they will come. I'm a Field of Dreams nerd, geek, whatever. But I really believe that. And I think events that take into consideration the audience, the attendees, as well as the presenters, and bring folks together in a cohesive environment that allows for growth, allows for discussion, allows for creativity, crafts the community we want. Right? Even in a virtual setting, we can make those connections. So if the opportunities are there, and that is really important for me. That's why we're going to have a Discord channel. Some of you who might have also done the Witches Sabbath that I've done with Devin, Storm, and Matt and all those folks, there are people that connected in the Discord, right, from that event. And it's this chat, it really doesn't necessarily take the place of the in-person connections that we have, but sometimes actually it removes a lot of the obstacles, right? Especially if you're an introvert and it's harder to sidle up to people and be like, hey, you like stuff? I like stuff. Like stuff. We could just kind of get that to be like, oh, let's talk about that discussion. Like, what did Dame just say? What did Misha said? What did Tempest said? And that got me excited. Like that is ways that we can really foster community and exchange ideas and get to know more people and grow our networks. So that's part of what's going on with that. So I'm excited about that. And that's actually going to happen part through StreamYard. So we've got this sort of neat format. And what's really cool with the professional side of StreamYard is that we can have everybody. It's kind of why I went for the number of 8, so that we can have enough people for the panel discussion to have that format going on. And it's pretty cool and pretty easy to do. So, and we'll grow from here as well. So I kind of handpicked everybody for the first event, but what Waking Persephone had in the past, and it's something that I would continue want to hold true to, is that people can apply to present. If you have an idea, if you have a concept that you want to share, when it becomes time, when we choose a date for the next event, we'll be accepting applications for the next thing and say, okay, I'm going to pick 4 people who, I know kind of are sticking to our theme. And then I'm going to invite another 4 people or 6 people if we can increase the amount. The festival itself used to be about 4 days. We had our first night of motif. We will have, for those that you register, we'll have a Friday night kind of social online thing to explore first, so you can get to know people, also get familiar with the format, because I know that can be a bit nerve-wracking, so you know exactly like how things are working. So we're just doing the 1 day because I think with this 1 day is good. But we'll see. Maybe we will expand to multiple days of festival in the future. Just kind of taking things 1 day at a time. So one more thing about Waking Persephone is that 10% of every ticket goes to Trans Lifeline. So for every event that we do with Waking Persephone, it will go to a different queer charity, focus group, organization, nonprofit to help support other aspects of the community. So 10% of your ticket going right to Trans Lifeline. And so that's awesome. And Llewellyn is also helping to help. This is off the cuff, right? Llewellyn is also, they're putting together some gift baskets. So we're going to do a kind of raffle or drawing, a door raffle. And so there will be books by myself and Misha and Michelle, and maybe a few other surprises that are all kind of dealing with whether what we're presenting or other books related to the topic. And a few lucky folks will, if you answer, everybody gets entered in the drawing. Boom, and you might get books. Yay. And there will be a shop link soon with the art and all that sort of stuff that's going to be happening probably next week. I have just been Oracle Land. And now that I'm free from Oracle Land, life will resume again. Sort of, kind of. I hope. Right? So, whew, right? It's a lot of stuff. Why have you been quiet? There's so much stuff. So to recap, and if you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'll probably go for a little bit longer. So if you're just coming in, the Oracle of the Magical Body is done for its first phase. That's where I've been for the last month, is finishing up this deck. The next thing is Waking Persephone in April, which is, it's now April, so in less than 3 weeks, April 24th, Waking Persephone, wakingpersephone.com is where you can register. You can see the schedule. You can read about the presenters. You can do all the things you need to do there. Boom, it's on the website. And the Witch Will Workout will return soon. Witch Heart they'll pop up when they pop up. Witch Heart, I've decided those are not on the schedule. Those are when I'm inspired and feel like if I'm going to put a camera in front of my face for 3 minutes. And then go and post that stuff. So that will be back, as well as other such things. I'm back. I don't know how much, and it's not going to go totally crazy all at once. I'm slowly recuperating. Like, I had the mind of like, today I'm going to start with the Witch Will Workout. My brain's like, sit your ass down. Sit your ass down, clean your desk off, put the books away, mail out things, get functional life things done first. And I think that's what I need to do. But we'll get back to moving again, moving our bodies and such. And again, Anatomy of a Witch, the book, will be coming out in June. So, yay! All right, folks. Well, I'm glad you came to keep me company on this Monday night, or Tuesday morning if you're Polly. Polly's still there, over in lands afar. So I hope you're all staying healthy. Right, hopefully you're getting vaccinated, or you have appointments to be vaccinated, or you're on schedule, depending on where you live. Hopefully soon, that we're looking at by May or June, that everybody who can get vaccinated can get. Yay, Polly! Yay! Who can that can happen? Because looking forward to getting back out in the world and seeing folks. Because this is fun, but seeing your faces in person, and drinking together and having cookies together, and being silly, that's great too. So looking forward to that happening again. So hopefully everybody stays safe, and be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you'll know when the next things drop, because they'll always send you a notification. So that will be there. Yay, hugs. Yes, I'm looking forward to hugs. Like, I'm having dreams about hugs. Like, I can hug cats and I can hug Nathan, but I'm looking forward to hugging my people. I'm a hugger. Consensual. I'm a consensual hugger, but I am a hugger. So looking forward to like hugging all the people who want hugs. And be like, yes. So so thank you all. I appreciate it. And again, if you have questions, thoughts, you can pop them into the comment section. You can so you can try and send me email. I do have to catch up on my email, so that will probably still take another week. So be patient with me. I'm getting there. But I appreciate all of you, and hope you're enjoying spring or fall, wherever you're at, staying healthy, and go get up to some magic, and hopefully see more of your faces soon. Bye, everybody. Bye.